Robin.
Anthony also was telling me in the office.
Yes.
That you were learning a little bit about your dad.
You know, it's always nice after a loved one, like a father, mother, passes on. You get to learn new things about them through people that they knew throughout their life.
You're so right, man.
You just kind of learn things.
I think I've learned more about my dad since he died. I'm
Yeah.
like, why didn't I ask him a few questions while he was alive?
That kind of does blow, because it would kind of be nice to sit as a guy talking to another guy instead of like a father-son thing.
Right.
Which, you know, he'd still be the father and I'd still be the son. But you don't get to discuss, like, you know, what the hell were you doing when you were like 15?
Right.
You know, you didn't care when you were a kid. You didn't care what your dad was doing. But I think it would make an interesting kind of story.
Plus you assume your dad's always going to be there.
Oh, but then they die on you. Thank you. So anyway, a friend of my father's, Jimmy, was...
Can you use his last name because it makes it just that much funnier?
Jimmy McNally.
McNally.
He rules.
One of my favorite...
Known him for years.
One of my favorite things on the show is
ever since I was born.
When Norton talks about his childhood and he uses real names. For some reason, it just makes it that much funnier.
I know.
I learned that about comedy in general. You use real names first and last, and for some reason it makes the story that much funnier. But anyway, Jimmy
McNally was like my father's friend for many years, and it was like, as far as friends go, it's pretty much the only friend I remember my father having. So he was over at my mom's house last night, and I went over there, and he started telling some stories that were just... I had no clue. No clue. I knew about some of his vending machine hijinks. Remember I used to say he used to like steal from the vending machines when he was loading them? That was one of his jobs. My father's job. One of his many jobs that could never be kept was filling vending machines, and he would pilfer the quarters and whatnot. But I didn't know how far this went. When he got fired from that job, apparently... he never gave the keys back. So he was using all the vending machines around like Nassau County and Queens as his own personal ATM before ATMs. He would just drive around.
Why wouldn't they
and
take
when
the
he
key
needed
back?
money, well, they probably he probably didn't give it back.
Okay.
And they might have just not thought about it, not thinking some guy is going to be driving around just taking money. And when he needed money, he would stop in, open up the vending machine, empty the quarters.
That's a great gig right there, man.
That's what he was doing.
That's a great gig.
Until the new guy would come along and realize that there's no quarters in the machine and candy had been bought.
Please tell me that your father was smart enough to just take a little off the top.
No, empty.
Oh.
My father wasn't a very good crook. Not a very good crook.
See, kids, what you got to do is take a little off the top.
Little skim.
Just a little skim.
From a lot of machines.
Right.
Not just dump it all out.
That's how you get caught in the end.
Yeah. And so he was doing this, and apparently he stopped off at one of the precincts in Queens where a candy machine was, and decided that would be a good one to empty out. So he did that, and Jimmy wound up getting a call from the police department. And he didn't rat, which was good, but he had to say where he was. He goes, yeah, we stopped off at the precinct. I don't know why, but it was so Dad could rip off one of the vending machines. And other stories that I didn't know of. So apparently Dad was cash strapped a lot because he calls up Jimmy and says, "Oh, we want to go out, take a ride with me." Jimmy's like, "Okay," they're pretty young at the time, and he's driving around, and then he stops at like by a supermarket on Long Island and goes, "That place right there," because the manager takes the money and drops it off at the drop at the bank. Goes, "I'm going to rob that guy. I'm going to rob him."
This is your father.
Yeah, this is my father. I found this out. My father was a potential robber.
Right.
He wanted to armed rob a gentleman who was.
He was going to use a gun and everything.
Oh yeah, he had a gun. He that's what he did. He wanted to.
I thought he was just going to be menacing.
No, I think he was going to brandish a weapon and rob this guy. And Jimmy said the worst part was he wasn't drunk at the time. He was like stone sober and said, I need money. I need money. I got to do this. And Jimmy kind of talked him out of it, but he was ready to. If he didn't pick Jimmy up that night, he would have robbed this guy. Would have robbed him.
Did your dad ever go to jail?
As I heard a couple of times, those stories are to come, I think. Because I told Jimmy, you got to just tell me more stories.
Right.
Because the more I learn about this guy, the more hysterical it gets. I just can't imagine anybody being like this. But this is how they were. But they did some good, too. You would appreciate this, Opie, because you live in Centerport.
Sure.
And you know where the Thatch Cottage is?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of weddings held there.
Of course.
It's right on the lake.
Yes.
They have a lake.
A little pond.
It's a pond.
That smells when the tide goes out.
Well, the tide doesn't so much go out as they drain it every so often so they could do some things. I think it's mosquito control, and all there is mud, dead fish, and muddy ducks.
Right.
And Jimmy's wife, Maureen, they weren't married at the time, but they were going to be married the next day. And they went up to this place and saw where this dock goes out, beautiful white painted dock, where all the pictures were going to be taken. There's muddy ducks and dead fish. So my father and Jimmy decided they were going to go by the gates that they used to shut the water, to cut the water off. The dam. You know where the dam is? The mill dam?
Oh, my God.
And they went to the mill dam with bolt cutters and cut the chains and opened up the gates and filled up the lake.
Are you kidding?
And had beautiful pictures of the lake and everything.
This pond, for the people around America, is probably 3 miles circumference.
Yeah, it's giant.
Maybe 3 to 4 miles circumference. Just picture a 4-mile high school track. And there was a bridge, and that's where the dam was.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the bridge led out to the Long Island Sound, which means plenty of water.
Oh, plenty of water. And they said, Jimmy goes, and it came in fast.
And they would drain this thing, to do whatever, I don't even know. But how the hell did they stop the water from coming? I guess they would just...
They just opened the gate and let all the water come in. And it was filled to the tippy top.
Come on.
And they had a wonderful... Yeah, because the pictures show them standing in front of a beautiful lake, the beautiful mill pond. They cut the locks open.
God.
How long did it take to fill up with water?
Overnight.
Wow.
Yeah, overnight it filled up with water. And that was another one. And then a great friend story. These are, they were partners in not literally crime, but they knew each other very well. It's just like anybody that was kind of your best friend. When my father decided he was going to go out to California, pretty much flee to California at this point, because I don't know, I think people were looking for him. He was over at Jimmy's house, and Jimmy had to leave, so he was watching Jimmy's house. Jimmy had a bunch of booze downstairs. For the office. He was like the office booze guy. Sure. Whenever the office needed some booze, he'd go down in his basement and bring it up. Yeah. When he got home, all the booze was gone. Either my dad drank it, sold it, or gave it away or something. He
sold it.
Did something. Probably.
Actually, a little of both. He drank a lot of it.
Yeah.
And he sold a lot of it.
Probably did that. And but then he did something very nice. He got Jimmy a Longines watch and a couple of other things as going away present. He goes, I'm leaving. I'm going to California, so... take it easy. I'll keep in touch. So he left. And a month later, Jimmy gets his credit card bill. And apparently, during the time he was gone, his new credit card was mailed to the house, which my father opened up and used liberally to not only buy Jimmy his going away presents with his own credit card,
but he
bought him his trip to California, suits that he needed when he got there, other clothing.
And this was his good friend.
And and whatever else he needed.
Your father's an identity thief.
Yeah. And he spoke to Jimmy after that, and Jimmy was like, what'd you do? He goes, I wanted to tell you, but I figured it'd be a month before you knew, and I could get settled out here, and they never quite got settled out there, but...
Norton, we don't have to wonder anymore.
Oh,
we don't have to wonder about...
Dad was a gem.
We don't have to wonder about Anthony anymore.
A gem.
It explains everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, he lots of stories. I told Jimmy, I go, the more stories the better.
Yeah.
Just keep piling them on because I love hearing them.
I want a picture of your father. I got a mental image of Anthony's father in my head. I would like to see a photo of him.
I think I saw one. I think he looks a lot like you, right?
I look like me or Joe.
Which probably doesn't make your mom
Tall,
too happy.
Tall, skinny.
I picture a skinny guy with a mustache. That's kind of
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take another break.
That was it.
On the way, fat people have bad sex. We're going to talk about Obama. Clemens was on 60 Minutes last night. We should have some of that audio, I hope. He's saying he didn't do the steroids, and he's suing his old trainer, and then they had some guy that's good at body. I hate these people.
I know.
Because I think everyone is nervous. Even if
self-conscious.
You get self-conscious. Right. They had some guy, expert on body language, look at Clemens on TV last night.
He's lying!
And then they have
because he rubbed his nose. Maybe it itched, the dummy.
He was taking a sip of something, and this expert's saying that means that he's might not be truthful.
Like hiding behind the cup.
Iraq's lying all the time. Then
right,
sappy little sips of water.
We'll get into it after the break, but I hate those type of people because I think, like Ant said, you get really self-conscious. You see all these eyes on you. It's like
not exact science either.
Well, we've talked about it. I know we have to take a break, but we talked about it when you go into a store and you leave a store and you know you have nothing on you.
Yeah, but you didn't buy anything.
And you see that security guard at the door. All of a sudden you have this, I do, Anthony is in agreement with me, maybe a few other people out there. All of a sudden you have this weird guilt, like, I didn't steal anything, and you feel awkward like you're actually stealing something. And you know damn well you have nothing on you.
I feel like he's going to think I took something if I leave without buying anything, and if I leave the store exit too quickly.
Right.
So I'll kind of meander around the door for a couple of minutes, like grab my phone to make it look like, if he had stolen something, he wouldn't be standing here.
Right.
But why would I do that? Why would I care? I didn't steal anything.
All right, we'll get into all that stuff after the break. It's Opie and Anthony.